So this is class exercise number 4, part C. We're continuing on where we left off with it. So I'm looking at index.html right now with it, and I gave you, if you go, I'm going to pull back the Word document on our instructions with it, and I gave you this link right here. The first one is what's called the CDN, Content Delivery Network. This is the CDN. That's what it stands for, Content Delivery Network. I'm going to refer to CDN for the rest of the semester with it. But I'd like for you to go to this link. So it looks, and I took a screenshot of what it looks like with it. We need to bring in 2 of the React JavaScript with it. So if you take it and just highlight it, however you want to do this thing, click on it, and I'm just going to copy this thing. I have my browser open already with it. So if you open up your browser right now, which is this one right here, this is the first link I need for you to look at. It's this one right here. So this is the first one. It says both React, the React and the React DOM, are available with the CDN with it. I want to ask you to copy this right here with it as well. So if you want to take your cursor and just highlight it and just select that like that for me, okay? Select it all, Control C on your keyboard, copies it, and just minimize this back. Let's go back to R, which is this link right here. And I just asked you to copy this thing with it as well. So just highlight it. Don't bother about typing it. You'll get some syntax error in there with it. So I copy and paste as much as possible with it. So in here, here's what I want you to do. Again, good documentation is always good with it. So if you could for me, like I said, copy, if you could take, I like to document everything that I do because it helps the next guy that comes in with it, because the next guy's going to come in and says, oh, what is this thing? I don't know what this is. So he knows exactly what this means with it. So in between my comments that I have right here for you, I said React DOM, the CDN starts here, and the React, both of them are actually in here as well with it. So I took both of these lines that I highlighted over here with it. So let me just copy that, and I'm going to paste that here with it. Let me word wrap this thing, view, word wrap, and that word wraps it with it. So both of these files, what does this mean? Well, it loads in between the head section. It loads in these 2 files from the server with it. All right. So you don't have to write any code. It's a nice thing. It pulls in the library file. Now you have access to this, to the library files that's in the actual React DOM, and the other ones React with it as well. The second one I'm gonna talk to you about to bring in is called Babel with it. All right. So Babel is another JavaScript, kind of like an XML. I want you to think of JavaScript as like a flavor. All right. A lot of times they come up with different flavors with it. I call it flavors. Let me give you an analogy with it as well. You go down to 7-Eleven. You buy a slushie. It's cherry, Coca-Cola, right? All of us are familiar with these type of flavor with it, right? So summer, maybe they got a flavor pineapple. It's still the same icy slushie that you have, but it's yellow, and it tastes kind of tangy or different. It tastes kind of sour. My point in saying is that there are different flavors of JavaScript that people write and develop out there with it. React and Babel, they're a different type of library files that they talk to each other as well. So Babel is a good, another good CDN to use with it. So I'm going to show you where to get that with it. So if you pull back, if you go to our instruction page with it, which is this, and I gave you a Babel CDN, which is this right here. So this is the link to the website with it. If you want, just highlight it and copy it, or take that over to it. And just bear with me, because some of the stuff that we're doing right now might not mean anything with you right now. But I paste it over here. This is what it looks like. Let me open this up with it. And this is what I'm talking about right here. Is a Babel try where it says quick. Try JSS, JavaScript X. X stands for XML. Okay, so it's kind of a different type of Babel with it as well. Now, this is the script that I need for you to copy. Is this script right here? Okay, copy the whole thing. The whole thing of it I have right here. So copy it. Control C. Copy it. But when you use this in your script in your body, you have to add an attribute with this property called type equals text Babel, text/Babel. So let's add this first into it as well. Okay. So script all of this right here with it. So I'm gonna come in here. Again, documentation, document, right? So I always like to put in a little documentation that it helps the next guy, or myself mainly with it. I need to know where all that stuff starts and ends, right? I don't want to see 3 CDN files. I have to read the CDN file. What are these? With it as well, right? So be a good programmer. Have best practice that when you do these things on industry with it, it just helps tremendously with what you're doing with it as well. Let me grab that file one more time. Copy. I'm going to paste that right here. So that's the Babel one. And then I'm going to come in here. I'm going to say this is where Babel ends with it. So I'm just going to copy. I typed that line already. It just helps with it. So from here to here, this is the Babel. From here to here, this is for the React and the React DOM. All right. So it's one of these things that it's good practice that you got to do this with it as well. Now we said that inside when you use Babel with this thing, you got to change this into a different type. Well, what is that? Well, I'm going to turn you to bring your attention to this where you see this where it says type equals text Babel with an attribute. You have to add that and read this with it. So add this in your script. This is what this is saying with it. So I'm going to place that between, make this another attribute and property. So type is my attribute and text/Babel is my properties that I'm here with it. So I want you to take a moment and let me clean this up with it. Let me close that off with it. And yeah, let's leave that there for a time being with it. But I want you to take a look at this. Pause the video if you need to, and soak this in for a moment, because this is, I'm going to consider as a basic template. From this point on, in the body, between the body tags, this is where you're going to put in the div tag, and you're going to put in the root. Remember that the ID root that goes in here with it. So it's this part right here is where we're going to write our Java index.js, and we're going to style it with the CSS. All right. So I'm building you this ground up with it as well. So I want you to take this in. This is when I want you to understand. This is the HTML, the skeleton is what I'm going to call it. This is the bare minimum. So this is the second way how you add your CDN to an existing web page with it. Later on, maybe lab 6, 7, or 8, I'm going to talk to you about imports, and so we can remove the CDN files out of this and import in some dependency on here as well. But that's down the road with it as well. All right, pause the video for a second, and we're gonna. I want you to check your code. It needs to look exactly like this before we move on. So make sure your code looks like this. This is one of the things I want you to take a screenshot of this whole thing and paste it. I want you to paste this screenshot here. This is where this goes. Okay, so a screenshot of the 3 content delivery network CDN files in your browser with your browser open with it. So if I really looked at this thing, so this is what I want you to do is move this aside, word wrap it, bring that browser in. Let me show you this. Looks like this, and if I went in here, it should be blank like this. Okay, take a screenshot of this whole enchilada right here, this whole taco right here, this whole dish right here for me. Okay, with the browser, with this right here. All right, paste that here. Okay, put that here with it. Or if you want to put hello, I actually put a hello world message with your name and course number here. I don't care. You can do that. Let's do that. Since I have my instruction, I have to follow my own instruction here. So let's do that. Let's give this thing an H2 header. Let's do this thing as what I say. My name, your name goes here. And then let's give this another one, H2. Let's call this thing course is your IMED2315. And of course I want you to tell me this is your H2. Let's call this thing class exercise. Come on. Number 4. Okay, so if I did this right here, watch. I'm going to save this thing, Control S. Save it, right? And then I'm going to come over to Live Server, right mouse click Live Server with it. And I want to see something up here like this right now with it. Okay, your name goes here, class size number 4 with it. So it makes it live for me, okay? So when we actually launch the React server with it, it's going to show exactly what when we do the developer server. It's going to, when you save it, it's going to pop it up with it as well on a live server. Okay. All right. This concludes part C. I want you, well, that step that I want you to put in, but part C for the video with it as well. So take this in, take a screenshot of this and paste it into that section where I showed you to. Okay. I'm going to stop the video, or stop the recording. So before we take a screenshot of this thing, this is the actual screenshot that I would like for everybody to take is actually this right here. It's not about this part right here. This is just a sample one of them. But I'd like for you to make a div and make sure you have an ID and put root inside of it, because that's where everything's going to go. It's going to go right there between it as well. So this is just for a demonstration that I want you to do. But this is the actual screenshot I want you to include in your assignment for that first one. So I forgot to tell you about the root. I thought about it, but I've got to put it in. So pause your video and take a screenshot of this one right here for me, okay?